Have you ever made a judgment only to realize later you were missing half the story? In life, there are always two sides to every story, and jumping to conclusions could cost you peace, trust, or even an entire kingdom. Centuries ago, two powerful kings ruled neighboring kingdoms. To the west was King Aristeas, known for his wisdom and justice. To the east was King Baylor, a fierce warrior celebrated for his might and unyielding discipline. Though their kingdoms shared borders, their temperaments clashed like oil and fire. The tension between the two had simmered for years, but the final spark came on a quiet winter morning. A merchant caravan flying King Aristeas' banner was found burned and looted in King Baylor's territory. The surviving merchants claimed they had seen Baylor's soldiers ambush them in the night. When word reached Aristeas, he was furious. To attack merchants under my protection is an act of war. His advisers, eager to act, urged him to gather his army and march east. But not everyone was so sure. A young scholar in Aristeas' court, Myra, dared to speak. My king, what if there is more to this story? Would Baylor risk a war over a handful of goods? Perhaps we should send an envoy to investigate. Aristeas scoffed. Investigate? While my people cry for justice? No, Myra. Baylor has shown his hand, and I must respond. Meanwhile, in the east, King Baylor sat with his advisers, fuming over a different message. His scouts had discovered a group of farmers claiming to have been attacked by Aristeas' men. Their homes were torched, their cattle stolen, and their families left in tears. Baylor gripped the hilt of his sword. He thinks he can weaken me by attacking my people. I will show him the strength of a true king. But in Baylor's court too, there was a voice of reason. An aging warrior named Thalo spoke cautiously. My king, we know Aristeas was a man of honor. What if this attack was not his doing? What if someone seeks to turn us against each other? Should we not seek the truth before we draw our blades? Baylor dismissed him. Honor or not, he allows his people to harm mine. That is reason enough for war. And so the two kingdoms marched toward a clash. But before the first sword was drawn, Myra and Thalos secretly followed their kings to the battlefield and took matters into their own hands. One night, under the cover of darkness, the two met at the border. As they pieced together the events, they uncovered a startling truth. The attacks on both sides were orchestrated by a group of rogue mercenaries, hired by a wealthy merchant who sought to profit from the chaos of war. The next morning, Myra and Thalos rode into the battlefield, and they demanded an audience with both the kings, risking their lives to share the truth. At first, the kings were skeptical. Each believed the other had orchestrated the mercenaries' actions as a cover for their true intentions. But as Myra and Thalos presented their evidence and the kings began to see the bigger picture, Aristeas spoke first, his voice heavy with regret. I was so quick to assume malice, I didn't stop to ask why. I see now that my anger nearly led my people to needless suffering. Baylor nodded slowly. I too let my pride blind me. I saw only the insult, not the truth. It seems even kings must learn to pause and listen. The two kings called off their armies and for the first time in years sat together to discuss peace. Their shared realization forged an alliance that would protect both kingdoms from future schemes. How often do we rush to conclusions, blinded by anger, pride, fear, or ego, just like the two kings? What truths might we uncover if we paused to see both sides of the story? The next time you find yourself ready to judge, ask yourself this: what could I be missing? Because every story always has two sides.